Let's change gears. Ukraine's former prosecutor general, who was fired while investigating Burisma, exclusively sharing with me over the weekend bombshell allegations about the Biden family corruption scandal.
No doubt that there were illegal activities engaged in by Burisma. Founder and CEO of Burisma started bringing in people who could provide protection for him. Hunter Biden was among them. My firm personal conviction is that, yes, this was the case. They were being bribed. The fact that Joe Biden gave away $1 billion in U.S. money in exchange for my dismissal, my firing, isn't that alone a case of corruption?
It seems it. Here with what this could mean for the legal case against the Bidens is GOP Congressman, House Judiciary Committee member Mike Johnson. Congressman Johnson, your reaction to Shokin finally getting to speak for himself and what he said.
Well, first, Brian, I want to thank you for covering this story. This should be the headline in every news outlet in America. Just think of it, the simplicity of it. Here's the summary. The president bribed or pressured a foreign leader to fire that country's top prosecutor because the prosecutor was investigating his son. And he used $1 billion of U.S. taxpayer money to have that bidding done. And then he bragged about it on video. I can't understand why every news outlet is not covering this as the first story this morning and throughout this process. This is Mr. Shokin, of course, is an important voice in this because he was directly involved. He was the target of the president, and the idea that he believes there was bribery confirms what many of us are already thinking.
And by the way, he was appointed, asked to come out of retirement by Poroshenko himself, who was a predecessor to Zelensky, and he was doing his work. He said, I was pursuing Burisma for people who said I wasn't, and they knew I was pursuing it, and that's why I got fired. And he worries about his security and also said, was not in the piece, but he also said that he would come and testify in Congress. Are you guys going to call him?
I think he could be a key witness in this, of course. And you see the White House pushing back against your story and suggesting that he's not a trustworthy witness. You know, they say that about everyone involved in this. But, you know, the idea that the president would be engaged in a pay-to-play scheme like this, I mean, bribery is something that's simply defined. And what everybody needs to remember here is that it is specifically listed, of course, as one of the 3 causes for impeachment in our Constitution. Article 2, Section 4 says that treason, bribery, high crimes and misdemeanors. And on Capitol Hill, a lot of people debate and quibble about what high crimes and misdemeanors are, but we know what bribery is. It's someone paying you to do their bidding, and that's what happened here, apparently.
Yeah, and evidently there's John Solomon reporting, too, that it wasn't necessarily President Obama who knew what he was doing, who the vice president was up to. All right, so let's talk about a story that came out in John Levine of the New York Post. Despite claims that Jack Smith is working on his own, separate from the Attorney General, I just here to find out the truth on Donald Trump and its documents in January 6th. The New York Post raised some concerns for those who think they're separate, and that is this. This is an excerpt from it. Jay Bratt, who joined the special counsel team in November of 2022 of Jack Smith, shortly after it was formed, took a meeting at the White House March 31st with Caroline Saba, Deputy Chief of Staff for the White House Counsel's Office. White House logs reveal this. 9 weeks later, Trump was indicted by Smith's office. The spokesperson for the counsel said this about Bratt. He was at the White House for a case-related interview. Oh, now I feel better. A case-related interview. I thought, did you really, does this mean anything to you, Congressman Johnson?
Yes, it means a lot. Of course, this is one more piece of evidence that indicates, again, what all of us know intuitively. Jack Smith is engaged in a partisan political indictment of President Trump because he's the top rival to Joe Biden. There is supposed to be, everybody should understand this by now, the special counsel is supposed to be completely independent, not only of the DOJ, but obviously of the White House. And so you have this implication, one more piece of evidence that seems to indicate they were all working together on this. 9 weeks before the first indictment drops, he has his appointed person there at the White House meeting with him. It's outrageous. All
right, Congressman, just find out the truth, and why are they giving you such a hard time if they have nothing to hide is really beyond me. Congressman Johnson, thank you very much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.